Hey everybody from Beantown to your town. This is the Beantown Beatdown. I'm Matthew Barris.
Gabe Shamas here, also from Beantown.
Yeah, by the way, one quick thing. Congratulations to your Golden State Warriors making it to the NBA Finals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, game one is tonight. Of course, I got the Cavs in 6 games. Go LeBron.
There we go.
Yes. All right, so let's get into some headlines. First and foremost, last weekend, Amir Khan defeated Chris Algieri on Premier Boxing Champions on Spike TV. Good fight, good brawl.
Yeah, I actually saw that at the bars, by the way.
You did?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
They were playing it down below a few bars in Harvard Square.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, of course. Oh, that's good. And also, Amir Khan, since then, he says that he thinks he could get a fight with Mayweather in 2 weeks. I mean, he's definitely in the running for that. It's either him, Canelo Alvarez, or Kell Brook, who's the IBF welterweight champion from England. So we'll keep you guys posted on who will be Mayweather's last fight in September.
Do you think any of them could get anywhere near as much attention?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Canelo Alvarez is already a big star. I mean, he's a much bigger star than Amir Khan. Amir Khan is a star, people know him, but, hasn't reached that level quite yet. But we'll see what happens in the near future.
See what happens, yeah.
And also in the UFC, 2 champions are going to be defending their titles pretty soon. First and foremost, Chris Weidman, the UFC middleweight champion. He will be taking on Luke Rockhold for the middleweight title. That fight is going to be scheduled sometime in 2015, hopefully before the year ends, maybe like on their New Year's Eve show, because those are the big. That's one of the big times the UFC does a big event is on New Year's Eve or days before New Year's Eve. So
right.
That should be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Daniel Cormier, the new UFC light heavyweight champion of the world,
nice.
He will be defending his title against Alexa Gustafsson.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Gustafsson. Yeah, Alex Gustafsson. He's going to be defending against him. No date has been set yet, but it was announced last night on UFC Tonight on Fox Sports 1 when Dana made an appearance and told Daniel Cormier and Kenny Florian. So, that's great. That's some good news right there. Can't wait for those fights to happen. Now, let's go into Glory 22, which is going down live on Friday, which is tomorrow. Yep, Friday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Spike TV, because it's being broadcast in France, in Lille, France, which is not too far from Paris. Yeah, so, and this is a good card here. First, we got the lightweight tournament, the 4-man tournament. Josh Johnson taking on the hometown heroes, Chrise Bosoko. Sorry.
Clearly, he had to just write it down in order. To say it. So let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, there's that. And also the former lightweight champion David Kira from Georgia, not Atlanta, Georgia, but Georgia is in, I think it's in Turkey.
Yes.
Yeah, in Turkey. He's going to be taking on Sichichai Sitchampiongs, who's from Thailand, making his Glory debut. And then in the co-main event, Zach Magakasa from the Congo, taking on Carlos Brooks from the USA. Carlos making his debut here. And in the main event for the Glory Heavyweight Championship, the Prince of Kickboxing, Rico Verhoeven versus Benjamin Agabui. He's from Romania. Well, he's half Romanian, half Nigerian. He's South African. So this should be a good afternoon of fights. And I already told my mom. I said, Mom, because my mom after work she comes in and at 6 o'clock she likes to watch the Fox 25 news at 6. And I said, and this fight is from 4 to 6:15, but
it's probably gonna spill over.
Yeah, spill over for another 10, 20 minutes, depending how long the fights go.
So let me guess, she wants to watch the news right at 6.
Oh yeah, as soon as she comes home, I was like, Mom, Mom, listen, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to get this TV when the fight is over, okay? I am not going to miss 1 minute, not 1 second of this event. I mean, kickboxing taking place in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, also, is school out? Is school officially out?
Yeah, at least for the college kids.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, because for the grade school kids, if they're still in school, I know they're going to be rushing home if they like.
I think they are. Yeah, so they're going to be. Yes.
Yeah, if they like fighting, then they're probably going to rush home and turn on Spike and watch this. That's like back in the days when TNA wrestling used to be on Fox Sports Net, and it used to come on at 3. And my school was not, New Mission High School, which was the school I went to, was not too far from there. So so as soon as school would let out, I would power walk as fast as I could to watch that, because I said, I was not gonna miss that Friday. As soon as Friday came along, Friday afternoon, school's out. I'm out there. I was out.
Nice.
Yes. And it should be a good night of fights. Love Rico Verhoeven. He's been a great fresh face to kickboxing, and just cannot wait for this fight in the afternoon. And of course, later on afterwards, I got a potential date.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, Puerto Rican girl. So we'll see what happens with that. And actually, we're kind of show short today.
It's a short show today.
Yeah, 34 minutes. So
have to run to work like madmen. So.
Yes. So as a matter of fact, I think we have time for 2 rants. 2 rants of the day. So you know what? I'll start with my rant first.
Matt's rant of the day.
Yep. My rant of the day is the John Jones thing. Of course, John Jones is soon going to be will be standing trial for the hit and run accident involving a pregnant woman. And, of course, this has always led to a discussion, when it comes to athletes and being in trouble and stuff. Should athletes be better role models? And the answer to that is hell no. Okay? And all my years of watching sports, and then you read the headlines of them being in trouble and whatnot. I mean, it just goes to show you that athletes should not be role models, okay? They don't get... I mean, let me tell you something. Those sports organizations are not paying them to be role models, okay? Dana White does not pay John Jones to be a choir boy. No, he pays him to go in the cage and beat a motherfucker's ass. Okay? That is what he's being paid to do. Okay? Now, I admit there should be... I mean, there's just simple things you should do, but, that doesn't make you a role model. I mean, if you want to be part of any organization, whether it's the UFC, whether it's the NBA, or, of course, the organization that's really been taking a hit this year, the NFL, of course, it's obvious, don't be involved in gang activity, don't abuse women, don't abuse children, don't use drugs, and pay your taxes, and the rest will take care of itself. And of course, here's another example. Michael Jordan. My brother loves Michael Jordan. I've heard him praise Michael Jordan than I've heard him praise anyone in our family.
And ever.
Yes. Yeah, ever. And, of course, when you look at Michael Jordan and all the great accomplishments, of course you can look at him and say he could be a role model. But then, of course, when you look into his personal life, the cheating on his wife, having a child out of wedlock with this woman, with his first wife, getting divorced, not looking into the allegations of the sweatshop stuff at Nike, because there was a scandal that underpaid people at Nike were working in a sweatshop and stuff. And he said that he would investigate it, but he never did. And I don't think to this day he still hasn't investigated that.
Right. Well, that's too bad. But I mean, the thing with the cheating and whatnot. Why do we Why did we not hear about it as much with Michael, and why was it like a thing that people thought would bring down Tiger Woods? You know,
well, I think it's
why
because
do we care now with Tiger Woods? You know?
Well, I think it's because for many years during in the playoff, in Michael Jordan's heyday, he had some people going into his private life, and the whole gambling thing, during the '93 playoffs and what have you. But there was a thing where you couldn't say anything bad about Michael Jordan. If you said anything bad about Michael Jordan, whether you worked for Sports Illustrated, whether you worked for ESPN or a local newspaper, people would shun you. They would shun you, and they'd be like, "How dare you?"
Right.
In fact, when Michael Jordan, I don't know if you remember this, when Michael Jordan was playing baseball, there was a picture of him on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and he's missing a fastball, and it says, on the cover of the magazine, it says, "Bag it, Michael." And since then, Michael Jordan has never done a written interview with Sports Illustrated since then. Never. Because to Michael, it's like, all the years of bending over backwards for the media.
Right.
And he just said, you know what? Fuck you guys.
Some crazy stuff. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And also, look at, here's another example. Oscar De La Hoya. Okay? Now, of course, Oscar De La Hoya, good-looking kid back in the day, good-looking kid, wins a gold medal, he's a boxer and stuff like that. I remember those speed stick commercials he used to do. Back in the day. He attracts a lot of women, but then in his personal life, as we all later on found out, he was an alcoholic. He was drinking alcohol when he was 10, sipping, stealing sips of beer when his dad or whatever would ask him to get a beer, drinking beer, having an alcohol problem, cheating on Shayna Moakler, the one who used to be married to Travis Barker. And they had that, Oscar and her had a kid, and then of course later on they broke up, and she went with Travis, and the rest is history.
Right.
But it just goes to show you that athletes should not be role models, nor should fighters. And plus, fighters have they have a history of lying. There's that old saying, champion fighters are world-class liars. Yeah, they are.
Right. I do wonder though. It's true. A lot of them, they aren't hired to be role models. They're hired to to find the way forward and freaking slam it, right? But I do wonder, because it's like one of those things. They are role models. They become them with all the merchandising and stuff. So it's one thing to say they aren't paid to be role models, and that's fine. Therefore they shouldn't be. But they're also. We gotta watch out if you're just gonna say that, and kids look after them and stuff.
Well, Charles Barkley said so itself. Parents should be role models, and I believe that to this day. It's okay if kids want to aspire to be great, but at the end of the day, the athletes can't raise their kids. They can't raise people's kids. They have to raise their own kids. The role models should not be the athletes, the actors, or musicians, or politicians, including
the
Obama.
Interesting thing is politicians.
Yeah, including Obama.
Because they are elected representatives. They are supposed to be something that looks like us. That,
exactly.
Acts better. Someone that acts better than us. I think, what's his face said, we all suck, but I want someone who doesn't suck to run the country.
Exactly. The role model should be parents, teachers, and people who work in law enforcement. Yeah, Baltimore cops, I'm looking at you now. Talking to you now. You should be role models. Those are the ones who should be role models, not athletes, period, end of conversation. And end of rant.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Very good, very good.
All right,
so,
Gabe?
On to my rant of the day. All right, so I mentioned before, I've been watching Mad Men. Super into it. I think it's freaking awesome. It brings you down sometimes, but it really shows you where we came from just a generation ago. And so I'm going to talk about the times that they're sort of driven to be violent in their lives. And it's a very different type of society. They're, advertising is king. You wear like colorful clothes at work. It's all about PR and schmoozing and kissing up. So it's a very different type of thing. And yet, how does violence come into this? How does anger, aggression come into it? Well, it turns out that comes into it every day. You know what I mean? Every day. And so it's actually taught me a lot about how to deal with things at work and things in your life where you want to scream or something. Draper does yell at people at work, but it's usually for a very good reason. He says, if you don't like this, find another way. You know what I mean? He doesn't have any sympathy, and yet he believes in their potential. If you really think you can do this, then you better find it. You better bring it to me, and it better not suck. Speaking of the sucking thing. It's in a world like that that they sort of believed that they were more above violence, but then no, they're not. One of the most crazy weird scenes is after the president has died, after JFK was assassinated. You think it wouldn't really have anything to do with advertisers in New York, but everyone in the northern states just stopped dead. They were devastated, and they had to think about what the fuck this means, and that our society has gotten violent towards the politicians, our role models. I remember Cooper and his wife are talking about it, and I always thought Cooper's wife was probably more conservative because she comes from a very rich family, and her and Cooper always butting heads with them. I remember it became a thing when he asked for help to buy their apartment, the marital apartment they wanted to move in together. Anyway, that being said, when they're talking about who would dare to shoot the president, Cooper says, "Well, I've heard it around work. He made some enemies, And she was like, "That's awful. I don't care. I don't care what your politics are." Which again, I thought she was conservative, but I don't care what your politics are. You don't go around shooting the president. And so we think of the sort of pride, and that actually was a type of pride and a type of power back then. I'm glad for the representation of that. And there's moments where despite like the office decorum is the word, like frickin' fists come out. We were talking last time about the hot redhead, right?
Oh yeah, Christina Hendricks.
Christina Hendricks, yes, indeed. So Christina Hendricks is always very sexy and seductive, and she uses that to great benefit in The Office. But also there's this whole scene where her husband's life falls apart. He was going to be a big lawyer and all this type of stuff. Her brand new husband, they just got married, and anyway, he's like. She's almost fired. She went through a threat of being fired, and so she's like already on edge. And he's like, "You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to have everything in your life taken from you." And she is fucking pissed. She actually is pissed at that, and I guess you always wonder if she'll become a firecracker when driven to the point. Well, she throws a vase at his head. No, you haven't seen much of the episodes.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
but she throws a vase at his head and frickin' knocks him out.
Yeah. Well, of course, society has changed since the Mad Men days.
Of course, yeah.
I mean,
that's what it's about.
Well, for example, I mean, because there's more standards and practices, and these advertisement, advertisement companies, they're publicly traded, right?
Yeah. I don't know how it was back then, but definitely nowadays.
Yeah, they're publicly traded companies, so of course you can't go around punching people out and stuff like that.
Right.
And also, you can't throw your vase at your husband or your wife. You know, there should, there's equal rights for domestic violence, and of course, you can't act the way some of them used to act back in the day. Like, for example, the whole smoking and the drinking thing. I mean, actually, the creator of the Mad Men series in the book, he did an interview. He said, like, those guys, they're not around today. Because the smoking and the drinking, it killed them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Drinking whiskey and smoking cigarettes in the break room and in the offices. You can't do
3 lunch martinis, and then you go back and pour yourself one if it's a good day.
Yeah, you can't do that nowadays. Because like I said, standards and practices, and you can't do that. And of course, people have, and then there's people with asthma. That's going to affect them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And of course, back in the day, there wasn't such a thing as cigarettes causing cancer.
Right.
Now,
so they didn't believe that, and that's actually an interesting part too, where Draper's wife is like going around with the mayor now and the governor, and she's like, I forget who she says it to, but she's like, I'm not gonna stop smoking. I don't think they've shown that.
Yeah,
they haven't shown it's harmful.
Yeah, and of course, who'd want to? I mean, Don Draper. I mean, he has like this Sinatra Rat Pack thing about him, which is kind of cool, but in reality, he's really a bastard. I mean, the way he treats his employees. Cheating on his wife by putting his dick in any pussy he can find. I mean, and of course, yeah.
So I know you've seen a few episodes, but
yeah.
No, I mean, it's funny because it is that, but there's also like more to it in a way. It is that you actually don't like him that much, given that he's one of the main characters. But also. The thing you probably don't know about him is he came from the hobo side of the tracks.
Really?
Yes. People don't know that about him. He ended up finding the job because he worked in a fur shop, and the guy Kevin, whoever his name is, he just happened to come in, one of the big dogs, and he's eventually works his way in the door. I'm talking about that he did his own ads for the fur shop that he's running. So. Yeah, it's like one of those crazy things where he actually can't talk to many people about the fact that he, in fact, climbed this ladder, from like his bootstraps and I'm sure blood along the way.
Yeah,
he lives with that dark secret, and that's also what causes him to either be violent or to look for sex. There's actually a point where a woman slaps him. He figures out he wants to be slapped during sex. So, all sorts of psychological stuff.
Oh, okay. Hey, no shame in that.
Yep.
But yeah, you can't go. I mean, those so-called good old days.
Good old days, yeah.
They're gone. I mean, yeah, you can still, drink, and stuff. You can go out with your buddies and drink, but you can't just drink during work. It's more like, go to the bar or go home and drink.
Exactly. But yeah, I think it's good to realize that we still think they're the good old days. And I think there's a part of us that still is like, those were the good old days. And yet at the same time we see that that so much was so much worse, especially for like regular working people.
Yeah, exactly. And plus the racism.
That's it. Yeah, that's the other thing. There's a whole few episodes about the radicals that are trying to help out in the the civil rights struggle and all that. But yeah, racism was still pretty huge.
Yeah, exactly. And of course around that time, when the '60s going into the '70s, I mean, like the whole. Yeah, we still got some time. Yeah, but the whole Rat Pack thing was kind of coming to an end. The dressing up and the hats and stuff. But those were also a good night. I mean, those were good times, for fights. Watching Sugar Ray Robinson and a young Ali when he was Cassius Clay, and
exactly. And then, like I said last time, the episode where most of them go to the movie theater and see the big old fight. On the big screen.
Yeah, there was they were watching fights on TV or going to the movie theaters. I mean, the days of listening to it on the radio stations, were gone. The
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Actually, what's funny about that is that in the episode they actually do only we as the audience only see radio. We only see them listen to the radio because we're both, like I said, both Draper and Peggy miss it, so they're actually in a bar lobby with the radio.
Well, yeah, days of listening to the radio, those were going away.
They were going away, but they weren't quite gone. People in the bar were like gathered around the radio. They started yelling at the result.
No, yeah, exactly. But Don Draper is not a role model. I mean, if you think you can be like him, be like a bastard, and go around smoking, drinking, and putting your dick in every pussy you find, that's not gonna. You're gonna wind up with being an alcoholic. You're gonna wind up with lung cancer, and you're gonna wind up with AIDS. You have AIDS. Yes, you have AIDS. I need to tell you, but you have AIDS. You've got the AIDS.
Lovely. But
yes.
Anyway, that's sort of what it's about. It's about like we believed we had a lot of standards back then, and that it was all about high society and stuff. But society wasn't a good role model.
Oh yeah, but you like the idea of it, like I said,
Right.
like I like Frank Sinatra,
Mm-hmm.
and Sammy and Dean. I like the Rat Pack, the whole, getting dressed up for the fights and watching the fights and having a martini or Jack Daniels in your hand and watching it. But of course, those days. I mean, you can still go to the fights and get dressed up and drink. It's just that some of the arenas don't allow you to smoke there, and of course, Sinatra is dead and gone. I mean, even if the smoking and drinking affected Sinatra when he was doing his shows in Vegas, I don't know if you remember, but he was performing in Vegas. He was still smoking and stuff, and he was singing when his voice was shot. And by that time, Sammy and Dean, they were dead. I mean, Sammy died in '90, and then about like 8 years later, Frank passed away.
Right. So it's a kind of strange thing that that idea still runs our business. I think all the ideas that they came up with at the time still run our business, but that type of lifestyle and those types of people are pretty much gone nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, but like for example, like did you ever see that Ciroc vodka commercial where Diddy and these actors and stuff, they go to Vegas and Frank Sinatra's "Luck Be a Lady Tonight" is playing, and they meet in Vegas with Frank Vincent, the guy from Casino and Goodfellas.
No, I wish I had seen this.
Oh yeah, they do a whole commercial thing where it's kind of like the Rat Pack, and they invite some women in there. Danya Ramirez from Devious Maids is in there. Jessica White, the supermodel, looks like Naomi Campbell. She's in there, and they're all playing that song, and then they're playing. They're playing "Luck Be a Lady," and they're drinking Ciroc vodka. But looking at that commercial, I was like, you know what? If don't worry, we still got time. Sorry, keep an eye on time, people.
Yeah.
But I think back in the day, if Frank and Dean and Sammy were around, I think they would be drinking Ciroc vodka.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, you imagine that. You imagine the really classic style vodka. I think they go to. I don't think they ever say that it's like a vodka launch party, but I think they go to something like that.
Yeah, or go to Vegas and watch boxing and drinking a Ciroc. I don't know if they'd be too into the UFC or kickboxing, but
right. Yeah. I think actually like those types of things would be a bit too like cutting edge at the time. There's this one part where where this guy is pitching the Sport High Line. I don't know if you've heard of the Sport High Line. You can bet on it in Miami and like Cuba and stuff. But yeah, it's big in Miami, fling shit against the wall, and it's like high speed, high impact. It's, basically racquetball, but it's like so much faster because you can fling the ball off the basket in your that's an extension of your arm. And anyway, I can't even explain it, but I actually went to bet on this. My sister was older; she bet on it back in the day. But yeah, there's a thing where they're having a meeting about highlight and stuff, and this dude pumps them up because there's all these celebrities that endorse it, and there's all this stuff. And anyway, they have a good meeting about it. But yeah, they ask like, would the American audience be ready for something like this? It's a little strange.
Oh yeah.
So I think they would think about that, and like the kickboxing and mixed martial arts. They would say that same.
Yeah, they'd just be like, well, this is a little too much, a little too violent. Plus, they're on the ground and stuff like that. So yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna end the show here. Go to youtube.com/serpentscribe7 and watch our show. Been noticing a lot of people watching our show, and keep the views coming, guys.
Good job, guys. Yes.
Yeah, keep them coming, and comment and click a lot of likes, and also look for the shows on Facebook on my Facebook page, Matthew Burris on Facebook.com.
All right.
Yeah, so from Beantown to your town, I'm Matthew Burris.
Gabe Shamus.
This is Beantown Beatdown, and Vios con Dios.